proportional systems of government tend to have more diversity in them. They almost always have, they always do. They always have more women in them than first past the post systems. They're more representative. All young democracies are proportional systems. So the only remaining kind of first past the post governments in the world are old democracies. So in Europe, that's the UK, it's the only one still going, and America. And you can see the kind of awful politics that come from that. So in the UK, you get the blue team and the red team, and they spend 5 years screaming at each other across the aisles, and then the next 5 years undoing what the other party's done. There's no cooperation, there's no consensus, there's no negotiation. In the Scottish Parliament, it's different, because particularly when you have a minority government, and I think there's a lot to say for having a minority government, is that every time the government wants to pass a bill, they have to negotiate and build consensus and find somebody to agree with. And that's more grown-up politics. It's a more grown-up style. It's saying, look, I know I'm going to have to work with you next week. I'm going to need your vote. So we're going to treat each other with respect. We're not going to make this sort of awful braying noises that the Conservatives do whenever a Labour woman stands up to speak. You know, it's a much more grown-up, civilized way of behaving, because you know you're going to need to work with people. And so you don't have that kind of awful, childlike sort of what passes for debate in Westminster, which puts so many people off of politics. You got something a lot more calmer and a lot more civilized. And I think that is that you do see that in Scottish politics. I think that we can see from Europe how various proportional systems have dealt with having a far right element and a far left element. I mean, the Greens have been on a resurgence throughout Europe, and as a result of that, Europe has a Green New Deal. It's, you know, not everything that the Scottish Greens would wish it would be, but it's far better than anything that's happening in America and far better than anything that's happening in the UK. So it's more that it opens the opportunity up. So many people in the UK have to hold their noses when they vote, because their only real options are to vote for the Labour Party or the Tories, or to waste their vote. And so many of the districts are gerrymandered, they're safe seats. It's not really a functional democracy. You cannot have change without a functional democracy. And it's one of the frustrations that I find with the Labour movement, is that they're always like, just wait till Labour gets, you know, it's always this, oh, just wait. One day we'll be in charge and then things will be better, instead of actually trying to make things progressively better now. And part of that is making your democracy work better. And that is making sure that your votes matter. And you're right, it means you get some more extreme elements in, but it means you have to manage that as well. What's happened in the first past the post system is that the Conservative Party tacked right to soak up those elements. I mean, you can't get a more radical right party than the Conservative Party is at the moment, with their hostile environment and, you know, their asylum seekers, the way they're treating them across the panel. And that forces the Labour Party to tack right as well. It moves that whole Overton window along. So I don't think first past the post is ever going to be an option that really represents democracy. No country has gone back to first past the post after having a proportional system. It's a more grown-up way of doing things. It's a more consensual politics, and that's definitely the way of the future. Although the UK seems to be stuck, because until the Labour Party gets on board with it, it's going to be stuck and not going anywhere. It's part of what makes the UK broken.